Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome to my channel. Today starts my next reading vlog, so stay tuned. So it is currently Tuesday, December 31st, which means it's, well, tonight it'll be New Year's Eve. And we have no plans for tonight. We are literally just staying home and taking it easy. So yesterday, for one, I was tired. I was so tired all day long. I don't know. I think just the whole month of December finally like caught up to me, and I was struggling with staying awake all day. I managed to, but it was a struggle. And I got editing done, and yeah, that was it. So I'm just now getting this vlog started. But I wanted to go ahead and see what my reading prompt for this week is for the Magical Readathon. So let's turn this around and see. Okay, chapter 5. Another month has passed, and even though you three have tried to uncover the mystery of the air, you did not learn much else. On one sunny morning during breakfast, Professor Sprout announced that the mandragoras are almost ready and the victims of the attacks can be healed in less than a fortnight. Naturally, that means they can tell us who the attacker is, so it was agreed in the group to just give it a rest and let the teachers sort this out. The overall spirit seems to lift quite a bit as another day passes without any attacks. There is a little party at the dorm tonight as a long weekend approaches, and many students will be going home for a brief visit. You can't miss a chance for some fun. Ron and Hermione will both go too, but you know that Neville will be staying, and you got plans to hang out with him for a couple of days. You haven't had a lot of time with him this year. What do you do during the little party? Dance to Weird Sisters, play a game of gobstones, or sneak in a butterbeer? I absolutely love butterbeer, so I'm going to go for that. Next thing you know, you're finishing a late lunch the next day in a very secluded great hall, asking Neville what his plan is. Oh, I actually almost forgot, but I have to help Professor Sprout in the greenhouses with the mandragoras. Me and a couple other students are volunteering. There's a lot of work in getting the salve that we need to unpetrify the victims. You look a bit surprised. You didn't know they asked for help, but you'd be more than willing to lend a hand. However, after you say that to Neville, he turns all flustered and red. Oh no offense, but it's just selected few. Well, just a few who are very good with plants, as we can't afford to mess these up. He seems very uncomfortable with the implication he just made, so he adds very quickly, not that I think you would, but we just have to be very careful, and Professor said that. You interrupt him with a short laugh, saying you totally understand and not to sweat it. But it's nice outside, so you might as well walk him to the greenhouse and see if you can help with some minor way that doesn't interfere with the process. The greenhouse seems 5 times more chaotic when compared to when you saw it last. Mud splatters every table. The mandragoras seem to have had a little snow fight, minus the snow, of course. A couple of students and Professor Sprout are fussing about and hurriedly adding more earth into the now half-empty pots, because that was deemed the closest thing to snow by them. In the end, you did manage to be a bit helpful, but after an hour of dragging more sacks of earth and cleaning some tables up, you tell Neville that you will see him later and head back to the castle. Enter the castle. Her skeleton will lie in the chamber forever. Your confident posture slumps once you enter the castle to a faint whisper of the dreaded creature in the walls. You had nightmares almost every night of hearing this bloodthirsty whispering again, as every time you did, someone else had been attacked. You let out a whimper and run towards the general direction of the voice as it grows louder, and then gone. Thankfully, you don't seem to be the first at the scene this time. You sneak behind a corner, not wanting to be spotted, and poke out to scan the corridor floor. You feel such relief when you cannot see anybody. Maybe the teachers got here in time to defend them. As Professor McGonagall, Snape, Flitwick, and Gilderoy are the ones who beat you there. But your heart drops when you notice the grimness of Professor McGonagall's voice. It has happened. A student has been taken by the monster, right into the chamber itself. Professor Flitwick let out a squeal. Snape gripped the back of a chair very hard and said, "How can you be sure?" "The heir of Slytherin," said Professor McGonagall, who is very white, left another message. Right underneath the first one. "Her skeleton will lie in the chamber forever." Professor Flitwick burst into tears. "Who is it?" said Madam Hooch, who had sunk weak-kneed into a chair. "Which student?" "Ginny Weasley," said Professor McGonagall. "What? No, that can't be right. Ginny? But you thought she went home with Ron." It takes another couple of painful minutes for the information to truly sink in. Ginny has been taken. Ron and Hermione are not here. You must help. You're about to enter into their line of view when you hear the teachers speaking about evacuating the students in the morning. How there's nothing else left to do but close Hogwarts and make sure everybody is safe. You can hear the teachers giving up. You hear Lockhart making very poorly timed jabs at how he would have dealt with this situation if he had arrived earlier. Lockhart leaves with a weird little nod, and the rest continue to speak in hushed voices. Make sure everyone is safe. How can they say that when Ginny is taken? You'll have to come up with something, and come up with it fast. In Chapter 4, which of the following has happened to you? I followed the spiders, I met Fox, or Dobby sent a bludger after me. Dobby sent a bludger after me. You allow yourself 10 minutes of pure panic and pacing, and then you gather yourself. Okay, think. What can you do? What do you know? Malfoy doesn't seem to have much to do with this, contrary to what he'd like everyone to believe. Because of this Chamber of Secrets, a house elf named Dobby has tried to kill you. The chamber's been opened before. The teachers don't seem to have any clue as to where it might be located. Wait. Dobby. Dobby must know more than he lets on. Would he come if called? Dobby, are you there? With a dull pop, a familiar skinny figure covered by a burlap pillowcase appears. Dobby, please, can you help me? Please tell me if you know anything that can help. You feel rather desperate. In Chapter 1, did you make a false promise to Dobby that you will not be returning to Hogwarts? No, I did not tell him that. Yes, sir, of course, sir. Anything. His smile wavers as he starts rubbing his dry hands together in panic. But I'm afraid that I will not be of much use, sir. Dobby has been prohibited from saying anything about it, sir. Dobby would love to. Oh, he would, but his master have told him not to. Dobby knows things. Dobby does. Nobody ever notices Dobby cleaning. Dobby hears things. Dobby knows much about the Chamber of Secrets. Dobby's tennis ball-sized eyes fill up with tears. But Dobby cannot do anything about it, sir. Just watch and not be able to help, he sniffles. Seizing the moment before it quickly turns into Dobby's punishment sequence, you cut him off and reassure him. That's okay, Dobby, no worries. I understand. Hypothetically, if you knew where the Chamber of Secrets is, could you take me there without telling me out loud about it? Dobby's eyes dart from one side of the floor to another, and you see his ears perk up and him starting to jump up and down excitedly. Yes, sir, Dobby could. Without a second's notice, Dobby grabs your hand, snaps his fingers with another. You feel a tug in your stomach as if you're inverting within yourself, and everything goes black. Open your eyes. Okay, so there's like a little quote here. You can see we're in this tunnel. It says, Lumos, you mutter. You sort of regret it as it illuminates what you're standing on. Bones. Lots of tiny bones, most likely rats. The air is so thick with moisture you can feel beads of water collecting on your skin. You take a quick look around. The green, mossy brick wall surrounds you. The tunnel goes straight for a couple of meters, but then it forks out. You keep your wand and mind at the ready, preparing a couple of spells that you can use if the need arises. You need to hurry and find Ginny before it's too late. I go left, I go right, I go right. You turn right. It's so bloody dark. You raise your shining wand above your head to illuminate more of the path as you hear a high-pitched screech from above you. Your first thought that these are bats, but tiny angry blue pixies appear, trying to tangle in your hair and pull your wand away from you, snatching at your robes and trying to poke you in the eyes. You try to swat them away, but there's too many. However, you're relieved as this is actually one thing you did learn from this year's Defense Against the Dark Arts lessons. No thanks to Professor Lockhart, though. Immobilius. Phew, that was hard, but you have a nagging feeling it will not be the hardest thing you have to do today. With somewhat shaky knees, you continue on. You reach an ornate brass circle door with 7 snakes interlinked. Without thinking too much, you ask for it to open, imagining the snakes coming to life. Another hiss comes out of you, and the door does spring to life. It scratches itself when the snakes slither into their new positions, allowing for the heavy metal doors to click and swing slightly open. You lean your whole body's weight into it and push enough to squeeze through. You're so focused on the task at hand, you only now notice the space you stepped in. This chamber is enormous. This is the Chamber of Secrets. There are massive snake fountains the size of Hagrid's hut on each side of you. They make a straight path towards the biggest statue of them all, that of Salazar Slytherin, right at the end of it. The place is so echoey that every single step you take on the hard marble floor carries through the chamber and back, making it very hard to be unnoticed. As you carefully walk toward, a little shape catches your eye at the very bottom of the path. A little black soaked robe and ginger hair. Ginny. She doesn't seem to be moving. Run towards Ginny. Well, well, if it isn't the famous Savior, I'm really lucky to meet you. Hope you didn't go through too much trouble finding us here. We were just having a little catch-up with Mrs. Weasley, although she seemed to have gotten a bit too weak to carry a conversation, so about time you showed up. I was beginning to get bored. An ice-cold voice greets you, and you jump to turn around away from Ginny, on whom you were checking. Her pulse is so weak, but it's there. A handsome boy of around 16 is standing near the left, neither a ghost nor truly alive either. Something close to a memory, his voice and tone not matching the young boy standing in front of you. How rude of me. He flinches for a second as if from distaste. Tom Marvolo Riddle. But you may know me by a different name, of course. He takes his wand and traces his name in front of you. With a swish of his wand, the letters find new places, and it spells out, I am Lord Voldemort. Voldemort? Well, that's just brilliant. Truly brilliant. Your mind works a mile a minute trying to figure out a way to get out of this situation. The only advantage you see is that he doesn't seem to be fully himself, and that you still have your wand. But no matter what you think about it all, just ends up with you dying here with Ginny, and there's no way you're leaving her behind. Let's see you dance. I hope you're not too tired. Wouldn't be as much fun to watch. As he runs towards the central statue, reaches his wandless hand towards it, and says, open, kill them, serve the rightful heir of Slytherin. To your complete shock, the statue in front of you moves, its mouth opening only to allow entrance to an enormous snake, an alive one. It's a basilisk. Well, crap. Who are you here with? We have Dobby, a rooster, or by myself. Well, Dobby brought me, so. You run back to the door you came from, where you asked Dobby to stay, not wanting him to get in the way, or worse, get hurt. Dobby, please send for help. I can't survive long. There's a basilisk here. Can you do that and be back soon, please? Dobby seems flustered as he sees your panicked eyes. He clicks his fingers and disappears only to reappear a second later, a bit too soon. You look around desperately, sorrow seeping into your bones every second that passes after you realize that nobody else is here with him. You're just about to ask Dobby why he didn't bring anyone when the elf pushes an old hat into your hands. You can feel the metal creaking behind you as the basilisk is pushing its way through, the door holding still, but not for long. You let out a little strangled cry and look at what you're holding. Your reading prompt. Read a book that has a sword on the cover. Okay. It's a sorting hat? Dobby, why? I don't know, sir. Just felt right, he shrinks. I just let elves' magic guide me. You clutch the hat to your chest as you lean back, your shoulders at the door. Suddenly, the hat feels much heavier. You open your eyes and try to see what's inside. You reach in and feel a cold metal hilt. Is that what you think it is? You've seen it only briefly in Dumbledore's office. You pull it out of the hat and your eyes go wide. It's the sword of Gryffindor. By no means are you a swordsman, but it's better than nothing, right? You run further in the tunnel as you hear the door give way. You close your eyes and hear a distant pop as Dobby apparates himself on top of the basilisk's head. What is he doing? Basilisk starts to try and shake him off, a more difficult task than it might seem, giving you the opportunity to try to pierce through him. You half stumble, half fall, your eyes closed again. Just letting your fear turn into rage. You feel your sword sinking into something. Please don't let it be Dobby. There's a significant silence. After a moment, you notice that you have not indeed been eaten yet. You open your eyes. The basilisk is unmoving and Dobby is anting and clenching his sides, unharmed. You have no idea how you just survived this, but you're not going to question it. You make your way back to Ginny, who is still unconscious. Well then, I seem to have underestimated you. Most annoying, but fear not. Once I gain my powers back fully, and once this girl's body gives in, which won't be long now, then I'll... He's cut off by Dobby, who's just popped into view above an old Tom Riddle's diary. Not if Dobby can help it, sir. And he stabs the diary with what looks like a basilisk fang. Voldemort releases an angry scream, but fades away before he can say anything else. You're too stunned to say anything, but Dobby shrugs and repeats, Elves know a lot, sir. The wizards just never ask. Ginny wakes. Ask Dobby to get you three back to the castle. You are made to sleep for maybe 2 to 3 days. Who's counting? At the hospital wing before you're allowed to even think about going back to your dorm. You have many visitors, a grateful Ginny and Mr. and Miss Weasley, Ron and Hermione, and Dumbledore, the headmaster. After prefacing that it was extremely risky and perhaps not the brightest of ideas to go on a rescue mission, tells you that you have shown unsurmountable amount of courage, loyalty, and love that night. He awards you 100 house points, although winks at you and asks you not to boast about it to too many friends. He also informs you that Dobby was set free by a fanciful trick of Dumbledore's, but he doesn't specify what exactly the trick was. You're just happy to hear that Dobby can finally be free of his awful masters. Soon it seems like most of the school has heard of your adventures, and whilst more attention wasn't what you wanted, at least this time it's not driven by fear or speculation of you being some evil heir. You get a few apologies from fellow students, and most smile and nod appreciatively when you pass. Even those who don't normally like you that much seem thankful that due to your efforts, Hogwarts will be there to welcome them home next year. You, Ron, and Hermione set off to the Great Hall for the end-of-year feast, where you'll laugh, celebrate, and eat all that your heart desires. All is well. Congratulations, you've completed the Winter Magical Readathon. I hope you enjoyed your journey. See you next time. That's it. The end. Okay, so I was looking at my January TBR, and I have 2 books that I want to read in January that both have swords on it. So I'm going to start with Something Red by Douglas Nicholas. Obviously, sword right there. And see what I can do as far as knocking this out. Because the other book that I have with a sword on it, I'm not supposed to start reading until tomorrow. So maybe I can knock this out and, you know, have one book from my January TBR already knocked out ahead of time. And then tomorrow I can start on the rest of my January TBR. Or at least I can get maybe a good chunk of this done today. We'll see. I think I also need to do some editing, so... Oh, and I also have a haul. Hold on. I have a Harry Potter haul. Okay, so yesterday I had to go by Rite Aid, and while I was there they had a whole bunch of stuff, like all of their Christmas gift items were all 50% off, and that included all the Harry Potter stuff. So I got a really good deal on a bunch of Harry Potter stuff. So this one, it is the talking sorting hat.
Try me on, I will tell you where you ought to be.
This thing was normally $30, but I got it for $15, so cool. Also, I got this cute, super soft, big blanket. It's got Hogwarts on it. This was normally $25, and I got it for $12.50. They also had these journals. I think they were like normally $10, and I got them for $5. So one of them, oh, this is in plastic, but this says, you know, the Hogwarts emblem on it. Then we got this one, which is Moony, Wormtail, Padfoot, and Prongs. It's the Marauders map. And then also, this one wasn't in plastic, but it's the glasses. And they all have like a little ribbon bookmark, but I don't know if they have anything special on those. But this one has the glasses on the bookmark, which I thought was super cute. And then a little lightning on the back. I got some Harry Potter playing cards in this little metal tin, which I thought was really cool. It's got the Hogwarts emblem on the front here. Okay, so here's what the back of the cards look. And then the front, here's the Jokers. Oh, they're the houses. Okay, so there's the so we don't have hearts, clubs, aces, and diamonds. Instead we have badgers, even up here. So cute. And then we got the snakes. And the lions. And then the ravens. Very cool. And a cool little tin to keep them in. I also got 2 piggy banks, and I let Xander pick which one he wanted. So the one that he chose was this one here, which I think is super stinking cute. You got Harry on his broom and Hedwig here, and it looks like Hogwarts here. So cute. Okay. And the one that I will be keeping, which I thought was pretty funny, you put your money in Gringotts Bank. It's a piggy bank, but it's Gringotts. You put your money in Gringotts. I just thought that was cute. Okay, I think that's all of the actual Harry Potter stuff. I did get a couple other gift items. Sasha, psst. Sasha's trying to get into the tree. So I got this, which is a handy heater, quick and easy, little plug into an outlet, little space heater thing, which I thought was neat. And I got Xander this, it's like Venom, and it's got like the slime or whatever here, and he slurps up the slime and barfs it out or something. I also got Marty a shave kit thing. It was like the Gillette 5 Fusion whatever, and it came with like the razor and an extra razor head and shaving cream and body wash and deodorant, and it was like a box set that was $15 for the holidays, but they had it 50% off, so it was $7.50. So that was pretty cool, because I think the razor by itself cost more than that. And then I got these 2 really cute teacups that I thought they were really pretty for one, the colors. And then the way they go is you have your mug, and then you have this big tea strainer. So you put your tea down in there, you pour your water through, and then you cover it and let it steep. Sasha, leave the tree alone. Psst, quit it. And yeah, all of these were 50% off, so I thought that was really cool. I think that's everything. Alright, I gotta go get this cat out of the tree. So, out of the Christmas tree. So I'll talk to you later.
Boom!
2, 1. Happy New Year!
Drink.
Cheers. Yeah, so it's like 8:30 in the morning on Friday, January 3rd. Yep. I have not checked in. I think the last thing I did a tiny little clip yesterday of me with Missy. And then other than that, I think it was New Year's Eve. So yeah, I have some catching up to do. Okay. So for the Magical Readathon, the prompt I had was to read a book with a sword on the cover, and I had picked Something Red by Douglas Nicholas, and I forget how far into it, like 30 pages into it, and realized this was not a book for me. Some historical fiction I can get into, this was not one, and so Douglas Nicholas is apparently like an award-winning poet. And you can, some people say they can tell that this was written by a poet because of the descriptiveness and stuff in it. But to me, it was just way too descriptive and describing a lot of unnecessary things. So I wasn't feeling it. I kind of like flipped through to other parts, and there was just nothing that caught my attention. And I decided that I'm going to DNF this. And I asked Xander if he was interested in reading it, and he said that he might be. So I'm going to be passing this on to him. But because it's now after the 1st, I have been working on my buddy read of A Court of Wings and Ruin. And this has a sword on the cover. So I will be, well, pretty sure it's a sword. Maybe a dagger, but still close enough. So I've been doing that with my little group chat on Twitter, and I'm currently on page, about to start page 198 today. I've gotten through the first 18 chapters of this. Just a dent. I think I'm not quite a third of the way through it. So yes, I'm doing that. Xander and I actually finished Lodestar. Finally. Yes, we finished Lodestar. And I give this 5 stars. I absolutely love this series. It's, gosh, it's hard to explain other than just...
Good.
Xander says good. Hard to explain except for like trying to just tell you about the first book, which I've done many, many times. But... because I don't want to spoil anything for any of the series. If you're fans of like Harry Potter, you would probably really enjoy Keeper of the Lost Cities. I don't think it quite gets as dark as Harry Potter, but it's still fabulous. There's still, you know, this group of friends working together and adventure, and there's a lot of like big issues that are tackled in here too, like grief and regret and death and consequences of your actions. And yeah, Sophie, our main character, lived her life as a human, but turns out she's actually an elf. She's telepathic, and she gets brought to the elven world and learns about herself and her skills, though she still hasn't completely learned all about herself. Though I think she's now gotten all of her skills that she was going to get. And girl has got many skills. And it's such a fun story. And when she left her family to go to the elven world, they did sort of a memory erase on her family so that they would forget that really that they ever had her, so they wouldn't be missing her. She would remember them, and it was sad for her, but she made it so they wouldn't mourn her loss. But she has been keeping an eye on them, and I can say that there are things that have happened with her human family that is concerning to her. And that's really all I can say. Okay, so other than that, what else have I gotten into? Marty and I have been listening to Incarceron. We are on page 170. Maybe a little over a third of the way through. This is an interesting book. Incarceron is this prison, but outside of the prison is this world it's a modern world, but they're not allowed to be modern, so they're stuck in some time era. It's weird, and like 18th century or something like that. And the people on the outside are led to believe that Incarceron is this over centuries-year-old experiment where, yes, they were put in this prison, but it was this perfect world. And it's not a perfect world by any means. And the people that are in there want out. And that's kind of all I know at this point. Also, the girl that's on the outside, our main character, she's the daughter of the warden, and she's about to get married off to somebody that, like, an arranged marriage she's not interested in. And Finn, our main character on the inside of Incarceron, and Claudia, our main character on the outside of Incarceron, have both found this key, and somehow through this key they're able to communicate with each other. And yeah, that is it. That's all I know, and I'm enjoying it, but it is rather a strange book. And I'm physically reading Nameless, A Tale of Beauty and Madness by Lily St. Croix. Okay, this is an interesting one as well, because there were times that I've considered DNFing this in the beginning, because there are definitely things I don't like about the writing. When somebody takes things that are like real, you know, part of the real world, and then they just change the names of things to some bizarro thing, but it's still the real world. And yeah, I don't know, that kind of stuff kind of bothers me, and I find it just kind of aggravating that why can't they just use what it actually is. But the story, on the other hand, I'm actually getting into, and so that's the only thing that's kept me from DNFing it. So at the end of each chapter, I'm like, or while I'm reading the chapter, I'm thinking, okay, I'll give it until the end of this chapter, and then I'm probably going to DNF it. But by the end of the chapter, I'm like, well, I kind of want to know a little bit more before I decide. And so now I've gotten to chapter 7. I'm at the start of chapter 7. I'm on page 66. And I don't think I'm going to DNF it. But again, I still am not a fan of the writing. I don't imagine this is going to be a 5-star book because of the writing. But I'm enjoying this actual story. So it's a weird Snow White retelling. So she's raised by the head of the family of 7. The family, from what I gather, the family are vampires. And her 2 best friends, Ellie and Ruby, are obviously Cinderella and Little Red Riding Hood. There's mention of the Strep, which is the stepmother of Ellie, and there's also mention of Granny, Ruby's grandmother, and it's funny. I'm liking that. Don't know what happened to Snow White or Cammy before she came to be with the family of 7. Or be with the family. All we know was that when they found her on the road, she was beaten and battered and wouldn't speak and had burns. And so now as a teenager, she's covered in scars. She has a bad stutter, and we still don't know. She doesn't remember anything before they found her. We have been introduced to the woodsman, which he's like, you were dead. I saw you. You were dead. The woodsman looks like he's made out of wood and smells like sawdust. Yeah, it's interesting, but I am enjoying the story. Okay, now I also wanted an actual audiobook that I could listen to when I wasn't physically reading this or working on any of my other books or my buddy reads or whatever. So I am listening to Illusion by Claudia Gable and Cheryl Clam on Scribd, and I'm only on page 40 of this. So let's see. I have DNF'd 1, completed 1, and I'm currently working on 4 others. So that is where I'm at with my reading. Going pretty good so far, considering I'm only on the 3rd day of January and completed 2 books. Well, marked off 2 books. So now I pretty much have you all caught up, and I'm just going to go back to reading. I've got some editing and some uploading to do. So I'll probably just check in with you again once I finish something. So it is now Monday, January 6th, and yeah, I've been terrible at vlogging this week, but I needed to wrap this up. I've read a lot this week, and I'm so proud of myself. So I have my stack right here of all of the things I've either read or started to read. So first off, we have Something Red by Nicholas Douglas. This is I don't know, some kind of historical fiction. It's supposed to be like horror and thriller and things like that. And I got like, I don't know, around 30 pages into it, and it was just, to me, it was very dull and overly descriptive. Couldn't get into it. I flipped to different sections of the book and kind of skim read some of that, and it was all a lot of the same. I didn't see anything thrilling happening. It wasn't for me. So this is being DNF'd. This got 1 star from me, and passing it on to Xander because he seemed interested. Okay, next, Xander and I finished Keeper of the Lost Cities Lodestar by Shannon Messenger. This is the 5th book in the Keeper of the Lost Cities series, which follows a girl named Sophie who was raised as a human, but turns out she's not. She's actually an elf. And there's all these adventures and things that they have. She learns about herself, why she was created, what she was created to do, and well, she's still figuring some of the stuff out at this point in the series. But there are people that are out to destroy her. There are people that are out to destroy humans, and part of what she was created for was to embrace the human world and feel what they feel and side with the humans and explain humans and things like that to kind of help protect them. And there are good elves, there are bad elves, there are ogres and goblins and all kinds of stuff, and it's such an amazing series, and I highly recommend it. I tell people all the time, if you like Harry Potter, I think you would really like this series. It's very different, obviously, but there is, like, at least through part of the series, there is the school aspect, like the magical school, just like at Hogwarts, but this is more focused on honing the elves' individual skills, because different elves have different abilities. Sophie, she's very rare, and well, because she was kind of created, she has many abilities, and I think in this one she finally unlocks her final ability. So she's got a lot. Girl can do some things. But yes, highly recommend this. Love this series. Can't wait to continue it. And speaking of, we already had books 1 through 6, but I got just the other day book 7, which is Flashback. Holy cow, these things just keep getting bigger. I think this one was like 845 pages. She thick. So next up, I listened to the audiobook of Illusion by Claudia Gable and Cheryl Clam. This was just a book that I kind of came across on Book Outlet, and I really didn't go into this with high expectations. I thought it sounded interesting. I fell in love with this cover, which is what kind of drew me to it in the first place, but I wasn't expecting a lot from it. I really enjoyed this. This is a duology, so I have the second book as well, which is Ether World. And this is about a world where virtual reality is a huge thing. The world as we know it has high CO2 levels, nature's kind of been destroyed, kind of what our future looks like in real life. And Regan, our main character, her father created this virtual reality app. You wear the visor, you have earbuds, you have a wristband, and that's all you need. I found this very relevant because for Christmas I got Xander a virtual reality game, or like the visor and all that stuff. So it's kind of interesting reading this, having that. But anyway, so in this world, there's this virtual reality app where people can escape and see nature and relax and get away and go to the beach and things like that, which they can't do in the real world anymore. And her dad just wants to make a better place. Well, her dad ends up dying, somebody else takes over the business, And now it seems that people are saying that there's something going on with Illusion, which is the name of the app, that is causing people to become addicted, and then there are kids that turn up in comas. And Regan is like, no, my father would not approve of anything like this. It's not true. But she decides to look into it on her own, just so she can absolutely verify that yes, this is the case. And what she learns is not what she expects. And it's really, really, really good. And as soon as I finished this, I immediately wanted to start the next book. I ended up giving this 4 stars. The next book that I completed, I was supposed to be doing a buddy read of this, and I kind of was in my buddy read chat, but the person that I was initially doing the buddy read with never kind of showed up to it, so I just was talking about the book as I was reading it, and that is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. Oh my gosh, my heart was not ready for this book. I love this series so freaking much. I gave it 5 stars. I bawled my eyes out. Oh my gosh, that ending, like, well, the last, like, I forget how many chapters, like 5, 6 chapters, I was just dying. And I love Rhys and Feyre so much. So Feyre in the first book, A Court of Thorns and Roses, if you don't already know, was a human, and she kills this wolf in the woods, and turns out the wolf is a fae. And because of that, her life is now owed to the Spring Court. Really, she was brought there to break this curse. The initial book is sort of not exactly a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, but it's inspired by Beauty and the Beast. It very much veers off from that about halfway through that book. But I love this series. My feelings for certain characters have changed so much from the beginning to the end, and it's, oh, it's so good. I gave this 5 stars. I give the whole series 5 stars. So as I said about Illusion, I immediately wanted to start the audiobook for the next one, which is Etherworld, and I have. So I'm currently on page 103 of this, so about a third of the way through. Really, really loving it. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And I'm hoping to actually maybe finish this today. We'll see. I also decided that because I'm getting Chains of Gold in March, I wanted to kind of refresh my brain a little on the Infernal Devices. And I happen to have the graphic novel series of the Infernal Devices, so I thought this would be a perfect way to dive into that world without reading the full novels. And I mean, I haven't read the graphic novel ones yet, so I'm super excited to. The art is very interesting in these. So we have, only on the first couple of pages do you actually get color art. After the first couple of pages, it's all black and white. But I thought it was really interesting because you go from like this kind of art, like this, to what looks almost like the chibi art or whatever. They go like round faces, and yeah, here's a good example. So it looks like this, and then this, and then back. Takes a little getting used to, but I love the story. I love the Infernal Devices, which is the, I guess, the second series of Shadowhunter books. And I know that Chains of Gold is kind of set in this time, so yeah, I'm really excited to be reading these again. And I don't really have a page. I think I counted it up and I'm on page 89 of this. Also would love to finish this today. And now my battery is flashing, so I'm going to change that and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry if there was an angle change. So Marty and I continued with Incarceron, and we got to page 202. I think I've talked a lot about this book already in this vlog, so I won't really go into what this is about, but we are very much enjoying it. And it looks like we're almost halfway. And then I also started physically reading Nameless, A Tale of Beauty and Madness by Lily St. Croix. This is a very strange Snow White retelling. And again, I've gone over this quite a bit in this vlog, so I won't go too much into it. I'm currently only on page 74. I kind of put this aside because I started reading the graphic novel of The Infernal Devices, Clockwork Angel. So this kind of got put on the back burner, but I do plan on picking this back up today or tomorrow, probably tomorrow. And that is everything. That's a lot this week. I am kind of low-key going to try to read a book or complete 31 books in the month of January. So it kind of equates to a book a day. Don't know if that's actually going to happen. We'll see. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you. Bye!